So let's talk about abortion, because why not? I wrote a movie called Gosnell. Gosnell is about the worst serial killer in American history. He was an abortionist. He worked in Philadelphia for decades, I think 30 years at least. He would do abortions past the legal time. And let me tell you that I oppose abortion entirely, completely, okay? But I understand that children that you don't want can cause terrible, terrible problems, and especially for people who are poor. So it's not like I'm unsympathetic, I just oppose it. But that's my point of view. Gosnell was killing babies. Gosnell would deliver the babies of women who were way past the legal point when they were supposed to have abortions, and then he'd murder them. The descriptions of what happened in his filthy clinic, which was covered in cat litter and grime and dirt, and where Gosnell himself was a black man, but he was a terrible racist. He would give white people the clean room at the top, white women the clean room at the top, and black people these grimy, grimy rooms. The descriptions of what was happening there are out of a horror movie, except nobody would make the horror movie because nobody could stand it. I mean, the baby screaming, the blood, the killing, it was just, he was a murderer. The guy was a murderer. He finally got arrested by cops who accidentally stumbled on him while investigating a drug scam. He was put on trial for a number of these murders. The guy who produced this movie, who hired me to write this movie, happened to be passing through Philadelphia and saw that he was a journalist. He thought, what's going on at the courthouse? Oh, wow, there's a trial of the worst serial killer in American history, right? Boy, the press is going to be all over this thing. Take a guess how many reporters were in the courtroom at the time. You got it. There were 0 reporters covering this trial. Why? Because the descriptions of what Gosnell were doing and the descriptions of regular abortion were the same thing. And they did not want to jeopardize what they consider a very important right, the right to abortion. Because they're all Democrats, because they're all on one side. 0 people covering the trial of the worst serial killer in American history. It finally, Kirsten Powers, a left-wing journalist writing in USA Today, said, this is disgraceful. This is a murder story. You should be covering a murder story. And a couple of guys kind of wandered in. We made this movie. It took them years. I have to salute the grit of the producers, because it took them years to get even $1 million, which is nothing in a movie budget, to get this thing produced. And even when we put it into movie theaters, they would have problems with the projectors. They would reschedule it at the last minute. They did everything they could to stop this information from coming out. Again, we can have a debate. Civilized people, good people, can have a debate about abortion. We can talk about my point of view. I'm telling you, I'm all on one side, but I do understand the pain and suffering of having a child you can't afford. I understand the pain and suffering of having a child you don't want. I understand, or a child who's maybe damaged in some way. I understand all that. That's a debate, something that 2 people who treat each other decently like human beings, that's a debate that people can have. When I interviewed for research, when I interviewed the prosecutor who tried Gosnell, she told me that when they were interviewing prospective jurors, they would ask them about abortion, because they didn't want the people to have such strong feelings about abortion that it skewed their feelings about Gosnell. None of the men would give an opinion. The men were so cowed, so afraid of giving an opinion on the subject, that they said, I don't have an opinion on that. How can you not have an opinion? Half the children who were being killed, obviously, are male. You should be able to have an opinion. That's the thing that makes me a little crazy about the news, that we can't have a debate about these serious, serious issues.